So when you feel worse than when you leave your abuser, you feel worse than you felt when you were inside of the relationship. And this is a phenomenon that is quite common amongst people who have been in domestic violence situations. And this happens even if you are the one who leaves. This happened to me. We know that even with discarding, it's very painful, and that if you have experienced that, but people who have decided to leave, and then feel worse than they did before they left the relationship, it leaves you stunned as to why you cannot get on with your life, even though you detest this person and you know that they're bad for you, and you may feel yourself just maniacally missing this person, and you question yourself and you think to yourself, well, I must love them. The relationship must be able to work. Maybe it is some kind of a soul contract, and then you can get intertwined into some dangerous twin flame subject matter that I do not recommend. And it's weird to people who are looking on, because surely you should be able to just get away from somebody who's abusive and start getting better, because you have this space between you and the distance between you, and the aftermath, it's anything but that. And now that you're going through this, or you've gone through this, it's really shocked you to your core. And I really want you to know, and maybe you need to hear this, but after being narcissistically abused, the aftermath is actually more common than not. And the reason why you cannot get on with your life or stop obsessing about the narcissist is because of this aftermath. And you may be battling your own cognitive dissonance, where you're coming up with excuses and justifications for why you should get into contact with the narcissist, or how you may be able to fix the relationship, or thinking that there may be some form of salvation with this person because it feels unbearable to go through. And these are very, very deep reasons for this aftermath of narcissistic abuse. And I promise you, it hits after a toxic relationship with virtually everyone. And even when people break up with a toxic person and never hear from them again, or don't get any repercussions from them, which is rare, these people can still suffer this phenomenon after being abused. And the reason that you go through this is because you are no longer in this fight. And when you're a toxic person, or with a toxic person, you are constantly triggered, constantly walking on eggshells, which releases constant cortisol and adrenaline. And this wreaks havoc on your immune system, on every part of your body. And even if it's a medium or long term, it keeps you distracted and it keeps you present in the fight. But when you're away from this person and have some space, what happened last week, last month, last year, last decade, whatever, can catch up with you, because you are all of a sudden stationary, and all of this kind of rubbed into your consciousness in a way that is really awful, or your subconscious, and it feels like this overwhelming, deep despair, total heartbreak, grief, and so much more. And one of the biggest things about the aftermath is the obsessional thoughts, the looping thoughts, the sinking feeling of what happened, what should have happened, what could have happened, and you go over and over and over all of it in your head, and you can't stop doing it, and you just don't get any resolution, and you are astounded in this. You're sucking your own energy dry, and you feel so empty and so much worse than you did when you were with the narcissist. And you may feel like some terrible psychic virus has overtaken you and it's just draining all of your life force from you. You literally feel like you are dying. It can feel more painful out of the relationship than in the relationship. And even though to get out of the relationship when you left, you know that you barely got out of there alive with the clothes on your back. You barely survived the abuse, but now you feel worse. It is absolutely crazy. Panic attacks, waves of anxiety, not being able to survive without this person may cause you to try to stay energetically connected to the narcissist. And there are things like trying to feel their energy and constantly researching everything you know about their personality type. You may stalk their social media. You may ask people you know about them for information. Maybe you are getting twin flame or psychic readings done about you. Do they love you? Are they coming back? Do they regret what they did? Or maybe you just just want to break no contact. I've done this dozens of times, and a lot of other people have done it as well. Peptide addiction occurs because the cells in your body are chemically used to receiving strong doses of emotional peptides that the hypothalamus in your brain has been creating. And this is very important to remember. There is a peptide for every single human emotion that you can experience, and you have been having large doses of things like anger, betrayal, invalidation, abandonment, and injustice, all of these shocking things that the narcissist has done to you. You are emotionally addicted to this. It's physiological, the state, and it's the truth. It's been discovered in lab tests with rat studies, and it can be argued that emotional peptides are as addictive or even maybe more addictive than any synthetic drug, street drug, part pharmaceutical drug that you could find. And when you leave a narcissist, you are away from your drug of those emotional peptides that you've been receiving. And when you leave, you go cold turkey. You are literally craving the connection with the peptides, not the narcissist. It's your body, it's your cells, it's your emotions, that emotional craving that makes your head obsess about the abuser and what they did to you, and that's going to give you that. You can literally think about an abusive moment in the relationship after you've left, and it's your brain doesn't know the difference. It thinks that you're in that situation, and those peptides get released when you're reliving these moments, and your brain is going to give you literally every single excuse in the world to get back to the scene of the crime where you can get your drug again from the abuser who dishes it out. So we have good old trauma bonding. Is this trauma bonding? It has to do with trauma bonding, and trauma bonding is horrible. It's a part of the aftermath of narcissistic abuse as well. It's a feeling that you cannot stop wanting to go towards somebody that's hurting you, and you can't stop thinking about them no matter how you feel about them. And it's very difficult for you to try to reconnect with them. And the direct law of trauma bonding is this. It's simple. We bonded with people who represent the unhealed parts of our inner self. It is really that simple.